quieter than doing the mascot bowl.
Oh.
The mascot bowl. Let's see, I'm going to frame you right about here. All right, Scott. What grade were you?
I was in second grade. I was 7 years old when the tornado hit.
Let me have you look. I'm trying to get them slightly different angles. I'm going to have you look at me. Over here. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I was in second grade, 7 years old when the tornado hit that day.
Okay. What did you think about the day? Do you remember how it felt?
I don't remember anything about the day. I do remember watching the Today Show that morning, and the weather guy, you know, on the national news that morning talking about tornado possibilities, and I can still see the tornado going across the map right over our area. But, you know, I didn't think anything else other than that.
Was that Willard Scott back then?
Oh, you could tell me anybody, I'd say, okay. I don't know. I don't remember.
No, that's all right. I bet you it was. He was a legend. Okay, so second grade, Morgan Elementary. You're just in your classroom.
It was just the afternoon, and you know, at that age, I just kind of have images. But I do remember sitting in the classroom and Mr. Marshall sticking his head in the back door, and I heard him say tornado, and very calmly, you know, wasn't any emotion to his voice. And I just remember getting out and getting into the hallway and crouching down and putting a book over her head, but not having any idea there was anything real serious going on at that time, at least at that moment.
Right. When did you know it was real?
Well, the kids were kind of joking around, you know, because during tornado drills, that's what we do at that age. But I remember hearing the wind, and I'll never forget that whoosh, you know, and then it got louder and louder, and people say it like a train, and it was. And then I knew something was, you know, you knew something was going on. I had no idea how close this monster tornado was to us. But I remember the wind, the doors opening, and looking down the hallway, glancing down, and there was one of the staff members that had long hair, looking and seeing her go from one side of the hallway to the next, and her hair blowing. Still have that image in my head. And it was loud. I mean, we knew it wasn't a drill at that point, but there was no fear. I mean, we didn't know that we were, you know, in any danger. I think that's a credit to the staff, you know, because there was no panic on anybody out there. You know, there was just like a drill with wind.
So when you were hearing this train-like sound, the wind, what were you feeling?
Well, to us, it was kind of neat. You know, I was in second grade, so you know, it was loud, and it just the whoosh, I can still hear that noise. So we weren't freaked out at that point by any means. It was just kind of you know, it was better than math.
Getting hit by a tornado is better than algebra.
Well, at that point, because we didn't know, you know, we didn't know the gravity of the situation, you know.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, what did you think when you saw the damage?
Well, I knew something was going on later because my dad, you know, he was a teacher down at North Harrison, and before the tornado got to Morgan, it passed over North Harrison High School, and Dad was teaching class, and one of his classmates said, "Hey, look at that." So he was a photographer, so he went out and photographed it, you know, and some of those photographs made some of the, you know, the media later on. So
they're going to be looking at those photographs when you're talking about this, so go into as much detail as you like.
Okay, well that's really all I know. And then the tornado, as it passed North Harrison, you know, a few minutes later, Dad was out there, and one of the administrators there told him Morgan's been hit and they need help. So this is where I start to realize, because the next thing I remember, we were walking through the cafeteria, and Dad had a water jug that he went and filled up. And he had gone out and put it into the radiator because he had blown his radiator hose. So probably what normally would have taken a 12-minute drive from North Harrison to Morgan, and Dad didn't know, you know, what our situation was, he probably did it in about half of that. You know, I knew something was going on then. And then my next vision is when we were pulling away from the parking lot there at Morgan and turned around and I looked and I could see all the debris, you know, out on the field. And then I knew something had happened, that it wasn't just a drill. But it was a long time after that before I realized how close we were to, you know, something really bad.
Right. Okay, so go back and describe your dad's situation again. So he was teaching what? And then
He was a high school teacher at North Harrison, and I remember him telling me that one of his classmates, or the kids that he was teaching, looked out and saw the cloud and said, "Mr. Trowbridge, look at this," and you know, everybody kind of, you know, looking out. So he somehow got outside and just, you know, with his camera and started taking pictures of it. Not really realizing, I don't think, that it was coming straight towards me until he got the word, you know, hey, they've been hit and, you know, they need help. So I just remember Dad was calm, but I knew he told me later how that was the longest 6 or 7 minutes of his life, trying to get from North Harrison to Morgan to make sure I was okay.
Yeah, no doubt. What did you think when you saw your dad?
I don't remember. I mean, he just came and got me and we walked out. You know, he was just like Mr. Marshall and the rest of the staff, calm. You know, there was nothing that said to us kids that this was, you know, an event. The one thing I will say I forgot to tell you, I heard the gasp when we were in the hallway, you know, oh my God, or whatever. That I figured out later, that's when the roof was blowing off at the other end of the classrooms on the other end of the hallway. So I did hear the gasps, you know. So you know, as time went on, we knew as kids that there was something to this, but not till much later did I realize how big and strong a tornado that was probably, you know, half a mile from us.
Okay, any other thoughts or memories from that day or that time period?
Well, a lot of people talk about how the community came together, you know, and I've heard a lot of things. My grandpa at the time, Russell Allen, owned Allen's Market, and I found out later, you know, he filled his car up with groceries, water, you know, loaded everything he could in there, and by that evening he was out driving around looking for people that had just lost everything. You know, and he gave them water and food and make sure they at least had something to eat while they were picking up the pieces. So it was a small community event that brought a lot of people together. It really did.
Fantastic. That's a fantastic little quote there. All right. Any other thoughts about that day or your experience with the April 3rd Trail?
No, not really. That's all I remember. It's been fascinating to hear over the years the other stories, you know, that I didn't know, and just how close we were to it being a really bad event for us, you know. So just feel very fortunate. And I will say again, the administrators, starting with Mr. Marshall and all the way down the staff at Morgan, were great that day. I mean, the kids, I don't remember anybody crying or being freaked out or nervous or anything. I mean, it was just another drill. You know, you didn't sense it in their voice that something was bad.
Right.
And I'll always appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm going to be down in Brandenburg later this week, interviewing some people that weren't so lucky, that lost, you know, loved ones. And maybe some of them multiple loved ones.
You know, the day of the Henryville tornado, again, the Weather Channel was here. What's his name?
Jim Cantori.
Jim Cantori was in town that day.
I met him that day.
Did you? And my wife and I was out delivering hot dogs that morning, and you know, schools were letting out school.
Yeah.
And Kathy and I kind of scoffed at that, like, boy, that never would have happened, you know, in our day. You know, and how lucky Henryville School was that school was evacuated before that thing hit them, because that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, it would have been.
So,
sure.
you know, as you grow and have experiences, you learn that, you know, you're lucky when you've got good people making decisions for you when you're young.
Could have went the other way. What do you?
Oh, I'll always, you know, I'm glad that we had the people there that we had, with, you know, Vaughn and Terry, and to their point, it was calm.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, got anything else for us, Scott?
That'll do it.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you. That was good. We got lots of good little bites in there.